make sure we good on YouTube. Gotta see it pop up first. There it is. All right, welcome back to Sip the Talent Films. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today we have a special guest in the building. We have Ryan from my man, the Flock Rundown. So I appreciate you, Ryan, for coming in and spending a little time with me. How are you doing on this glorious Thursday?
Appreciate you having me on, Coach. It's an honor to be here. Big fan of your show, and I'm doing great. Doing great. You know, it's bye week now. Not a ton going on. Actually, there is kind
Yeah,
of
it's a
more than
ton
I
of
expect. Yeah, let me rephrase that. There is a little bit more drama than I expected, but no, I'm having a good day, man. Having a good day. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. So, I noticed you maybe toward the, I'm say between both free agency periods, and I see your following has grown a lot, and I've popped over there and enjoyed some videos, and have some good stuff because I just can't get to the daily news like I want to. So it's good to have somebody that I feel like I can trust with my daily news, and you're one of those guys I run to for that. So, my question is, after saying all that, what made you want to get in this YouTube space?
Yeah, appreciate you watching the channel, man, for real. But I started this last off season, and I've always made content. So I write music and make music videos, and I've
Okay.
done that my whole life. So like the intro song you hear on there is me.
Uh-huh.
But I kind of had an idea for content and a knack for it, and I've been a diehard Ravens fan my whole life. I was born in Baltimore and grew up in Maryland, and I think I was just talking my girl's ear off all the time, like last year, and she's just like, "You should just make a channel or something, like use your editing ability and things like that to just vent and probably stop talking to her so much about it, and start making YouTube videos." And then like quickly, I was just doing it for fun, and then I was like, once I got monetized and stuff, I was like, "Yo, this is like kind of a business too." So
Mhm.
I really I think started to like take the craft a bit more serious, as in like just making sure that I'm as knowledgeable as I can be, and I'm still like young in that aspect too. I'm gonna keep growing forever as we all are, and I just am pushing myself to edit more and just make it as like entertaining as possible while
Right.
also avoiding YouTube copyrights and doing that dance and yeah, just trying to be consistent and do the best I can. But it really just started because I love this team. I've been a diehard fan my whole life, and I wanted to mix that passion with my already kind of ground level of like quality and content and things like that. So I feel like it was just a cool mix.
Cool, cool. Now that's kind of one of the ways I got started too. I got tired of talking about it to friends and my wife and other different people, and the dude was like, "You should just start a channel, start your podcast," because it really wasn't the original content wasn't what I do now. It was just a straight voice only podcast where I was
Audio,
trying to
yeah.
give local recruits an opportunity to tell their story because I felt like the news coverage around here wasn't doing them justice. And so a friend of mine helped me come up with the name, and I don't know if you know Cowboys content creator by the name of Vosh Lombardi.
No, I'm not sure.
He
No.
actually he's right around 80,000, 90,000,
Oh,
and
wow.
he
Sick.
actually played for me in high school, and he was like, "Coach, you ought to do the stuff you did with us on YouTube and like the meeting rooms." And so that's kind of I started that the summer before we drafted Lamar, and I kind of rode the Lamar wave to where I'm at now. And so whatever happens with him, going forward, I'm hopefully he'll be around for his whole career. But
Yeah.
this is where I'm at. Unless they just do something crazy, and make me like forget this team because
Yeah, no,
I
yeah.
I didn't invested too much now. I think to be at that point.
Yeah, I feel that, man. No, and you're like, what, almost 2,000 videos in? Like, you've
Almost.
grinded,
I looked
yeah,
at it the other
yeah.
day. Yeah, yeah. Now I
That's
will say
awesome.
those first, because my channel is over 10 years old, but it wasn't content creating for that. It was just making highlights for my players
Okay.
and just recording silly stuff off of TV and putting it on YouTube. It wasn't. I never thought about like monetizing and stuff like that. But like you said, once I got to 1,000, I celebrated. Then I realized, hey, I might need to get a little bit more serious. And like people can see the progression of the editing, the progression of the stream quality, the progression of the even the thumbnails because I I be testing thumbnails, boy.
Yeah,
Gotta be
me
testing
too.
because
Yeah,
I
I
don't
feel
like to
that.
have the same style for too long. I'll change it in a heartbeat, even though my wife was like, "Look, you need to get one set thing so people know it's your video and stop changing stuff."
I've
But I
danced
just
with that too, man. Cause like you want to have like a brand so that like someone just sees the color scheme in the background and they're
mm-hmm.
like, oh, that's Sip to Tally, But then on the other hand, like it's fun to be creative and push the limits too, and see what works and what doesn't. And yeah, no, I take the thumb. I spend like way too much time on a thumbnail, to be honest with you. Like 30 minutes to an hour. The video is like already ready to go on YouTube, and I'm just like editing a thumbnail still. I'm like, come on, just drop it. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
And then I'll see something that somebody else does, not, and if I like it, I'll try to duplicate it, but
Okay.
not take it.
Yeah,
But
I know
like
what you're saying. Just
if
inspiration. Yeah.
exactly inspirational.
Yeah.
But and the thing about me is I love learning because this is new to me. Like I'm still a teacher. I'm not coaching anymore right now, but all this tech stuff is new to me, and it's still exciting to me because I'm a little older. And out of that group, I'm probably the oldest one next to Hendo. Hendo pushing half a century, and I'm not too far behind him. But so I'm learning all this stuff and doing all this stuff and just talking to, and this leads me to another point: the community. Like people that I've never met before, I feel like we've been cool for years just from them popping up in streams, dropping comments, and stuff like that. So that's another part about it that I really, really love. And I don't know, like if you have like A1 people that's going whatever you put on there, they're gonna be right there to support it. I don't know if you got some of them guys
Yeah,
yet,
for
but
sure. Like within like 5 seconds, there's like 2-3 comments that are
mm-hmm,
consistent, same people. Yeah, man. Shout out to them too. But like, yeah, no, 100%. The community's the what keeps me going too. Just
right.
even like interacting with the comments. Sometimes I need to
Yes.
take a step away. Like that after the Eagles game, I was like, I'm not reading half of these because like it got a little. I was like, it's like affecting my mood, like
Uh-huh.
I wake up in the morning and I usually just like no problem check some comments, reply to everyone. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was seeing some nasty ones, man. I was like, all right, I gotta chill out a little bit. Like I can't be reading every single
Yeah.
thing like that. The community is
I'll say
amazing.
this, and this is from an older YouTuber to a fairly new one. You can't please everybody.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Can't please everybody. And I used to try to like stay in between and stay in the middle and let everybody have their whatever. But at some point, it was like, you hit a point. I just realized you can't please everybody. So if you say something good about somebody, they're gonna feel like they're gonna take it out of context. And then if you say something bad about somebody, you hating it. So I just I just do what I feel, man. Whatever I
Yeah.
feel like I gotta like it before I put it on YouTube. And if I don't like it, probably ain't going up there unless it's some live stuff happening. You really can't control me.
Yeah. No, that's the best way though, man. I appreciate that advice. I feel the same way. I need to just just keep showing up and just keep
Right.
giving my opinion, and it is what it is. You know what I mean?
So, and in spite of some recent events, and this is no shade, I gotta ask because we do this, for the love of it. You're a Ravens fan, correct?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, so
I know where you're getting with that,
yeah,
but no,
I just had to
100%,
ask.
man,
No
100%.
shade, no shade,
Yeah,
nowhere. I just had to ask.
I was born in '93, Ravens, and born in Maryland. Ravens
Mm-hmm.
came in what '96. I
Mm-hmm.
remember watching that first Super Bowl. I was like 6, 7 years old, second grade. We had Ravens Day at school. I was just
Oh my God!
I was
Stop
hooked.
talking
I was
about your
hooked.
grade and your age, man.
No, sorry. All right, yeah,
When you was born, I was a freshman in college.
all right, all right. That's not that far off. I don't feel like I'm like super young. I'm 31, but like no, I feel you though. Yeah. But yeah, man, I've been locked in with the
Mm-hmm.
Ravens since I was like 6 for sure.
Okay. And so I came over. I'll say right, and I'm not gonna even lie. Say I was a Raven fan for the championship. Shortly thereafter,
Okay. The first one?
probably went. Yeah, I wasn't a
Yeah.
Raven fan. I knew about him and I knew it because I'm a Miami fan, so I knew about Ray and all that. But I could say I probably came on board shortly thereafter. Mainly when Ed kind of came through because
Yeah.
Ed was and still is my personal favorite Raven.
Yeah,
But
I love every
you know,
man. Him and Ray is tough for
mm-hmm,
me, but like that whole defense is just so legendary with Suggs
right.
and just everyone, man. It's just all time, man. I miss those days a little bit.
I on the video I posted reacting to the Hard Knocks. When
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but they had the old school AFC North, pretty much featuring all 4 teams when Ray was doing this thing, Terrell Suggs,
In the
and
beginning of the episode?
yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot about Joey Porter just straight up
Oh,
swinging on
oh
people.
yeah, that was crazy. That rivalry was like violent, man. You know what I mean? Like I know the
Exactly,
rivalry still exists, but it is not what it was back then.
exactly,
Football is
exactly.
not what it was back then.
Mm-mm.
Like
If it was, there's no freaking way PQ would be in Pittsburgh. If the
right,
rivalry was like it was back then, he'd have signed somewhere for peanuts rather than go over there and be play for them guys. But it's like these kids different.
yeah,
They different, and they different from my generation to yours, from yours to the ones that I work with every day. They wild. They wild. But gotta have 'em. You just try to teach them on up. So you kind of answered my second question about how long were you a Ravens fan. Let's go to the third. As a Ravens fan and pretty much been there from the jump, what's your fondest memory as a Ravens fan rather?
Who fond? I mean, it's got to be the Super Bowls. The first one, I was so young, right? So like I didn't understand like how rare that is. Like I was 6, 7 years old in school, just kind of celebrating it and enjoying the moment, and I fell in love with football then. But I didn't understand how rare that was until I think, a sophomore or junior in college when we won the second one in 2012, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think I was a sophomore in college. So it took that long, like almost like my whole like childhood and teenage years just to see another Super Bowl. So I think probably the second one in 2012 would be the most exciting moment I've had.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much better than watching your team win a Super Bowl. There's a lot of games I went to in between. I was just at that Ravens Bengals game on Thursday night.
Okay.
That game was insane. So like recent memory, that one sticks out. But like long term, it's got to be the Super Bowl. It's
Got
just it's so rare, man. It's been 12 years since then.
Mm-hmm. I was at the game, but not at the game because
Okay.
where I'm from, New Orleans is about an hour and 45 minutes. And
Okay.
so and obviously I couldn't get tickets, but I had a couple buddies like, hey, you just want to go to New Orleans for the day? And so yeah, we went to New Orleans and we partied, pregame and whatnot. By the time the game got ready to come on, we found an open lot, threw up a TV that we had in the back and put like little bunny ears on it. Got a perfect because on the major networks you can get that.
Yeah,
Got a perfect picture, and we sat in that parking lot and we tailgated a little bit, had a few drinks and watched the game.
that's sick, man.
We was about a block away from the dome. So when the lights went out, we looked back to try to see if we could see what was going on, like if something was going on, but it wasn't. So it was just a great time, and I enjoyed that too. That Super Bowl seems so long ago.
No, it was really. I mean, 12 years is a long time. You know what I mean? Like I feel the same way. I've been through so much life stuff. We all have, like, since that
Hmm.
last one. So we need another one this year.
Right. And in the same spot. In the
Yeah.
same
Oh
spot.
yeah. Great point. Yeah. 100%. It's
Uh,
meant to be.
let's get into this 2024 season so far. Give me your honest thoughts about the offensive line.
The guard play is atrocious to me. I think a lot of blame's got to shoot back to EDC for going so cheap in the offseason on the offensive line and not putting a lot of attention towards it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just looking at how good Zeitler's playing. I wish we had him at right guard right now for $6 million. Like, we could have made that investment. That's not a lot of money. That cap hit's probably $2 million. Like, you could spread it.
Right.
It's just going with Falele and so many unproven guys too. It's not even just Falele. Like, we started with Voorhees and Falele,
Yep.
and now McCary ended up going in, and he's
He
a good,
unproven too.
yeah, as a starter, as a
Yeah.
consistent starter. I mean, he's filled in moments and done well in the past, but
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing now, like, anytime we go against a talented defensive line, anytime we go against these huge guys, they're throwing him out of the way, no problem. So like
Right.
that is the offensive line is scary to me. I like I love Ronnie and Tyler. I think that's obvious. I feel like most
Mm-hmm.
people feel that way. And Roger, I like his upside. I like
True.
a lot of his moments. I think he just needs to like put on weight and get
Mm-hmm.
stronger, and that'll happen with age though. So like I don't
Yep.
really think that he's a miss or he's a liability as much as these guards are. So I'm to summarize my point, I'm not confident in the offensive line, especially when we go against talented fronts. Almost every
Mm-hmm.
single one of our losses, probably every one of our losses, is against a talented defensive front.
I echo your sentiments exactly. I'll take I expect what I'm getting out of Roger. I'm actually pleased with what I'm
Yeah,
getting out of
I
Roger
agree.
because
Yeah,
it's
he's a
not as
rookie.
many bust as I thought it was, and we knew coming in he was kind of slight. He ran the fastest 40,
He's quicker.
one of the
Yeah,
few
yeah.
linemen to run under 5 at the combine. So we knew he wasn't gonna be able to move people. My issue is, you don't have a people mover in Roger. You should have a people mover in Falele, who's 6'7", 380 or
Huge.
whatever.
Yeah.
Tyler Linderbaum's not a people mover. He's small. Makari, not a people mover. He's small. And then we know Ronnie is kind of like that in between. He can do a little bit of people moving, but he's very agile too, and probably more agile at this point than people moving because of the injuries. So why do we continue to put them in a bad spot and run power? run gap schemes where they actually have to move a nose or they actually got to climb to a backer, which we know one of them guys can't climb and touch somebody. So why do we keep running power? And I ain't say abandon it completely, but they're agile guys. Run zone, run zone, run zone. And guess who's good at running zone? The dude in the backfield, because that's all Tennessee ran.
Yeah.
And you keep forcing power on people and they can't move people, and linebackers just filling gaps. So I don't understand. Like, and I've been in the room with Todd for about an hour, like when I was still coaching and he was at LSU. So
That's cool.
Kind of have a, I ain't gonna say I have a good eye because that was so long ago, but I've talked to him. So I feel like he's a good dude. He understands ball. He knows the ins and outs of it.
So why do you have a theory as to why he keeps going back to that? Not that that's all we do, but I'm just saying, like, what do you think?
I think he's being told to make sure he keep gap schemes in his arsenal by the head man.
Yeah,
because that's technically
his
Ravens football,
his style. Yeah, right. Yeah, power run. Yeah, stop the run. Power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's why
that
I think it's still in there like that. Let me ask you this question about the offensive line. Going into the bye week, and Makari coming off having 9 pressures by himself, and pressures are only calculated on passing plays. So we don't even, unless you watch the tape, you don't know about the running errors, but everybody know about the 9 pressures. Do you think in this bye week, with all this evaluation going on, there will be a change at the O-line? And if you think there will be one, who would it be?
My gut feeling is there's not going to be a change. I feel like there should be, or at least effort into seeing other guys, like maybe even if that even requires another rotation, like whatever, like it takes to get somebody consistently shining, whether that's a Ben Cleveland, a Voorhees. Voorhees wasn't playing that great, but at least know he has upside though. Like he's young too, so I think what you're getting, or you don't know what you're getting as much with a Voorhees who could start balling and really just take a leap. I feel like you're not going to get that as much with a McCary, but so I feel like they should be looking into other options. Josh Jones, another option that has played starting football. He's on the Texans
Houston
last year. Yeah. So like, I think that they should be rotating or trying other options. I'm not saying that they're not in practice, but I don't feel like they're going to change. I feel like they are going to stick with this chemistry and trust that they look good in moments. But the problem is the moments that they look good in are not against talented fronts. And when we run into a KC, a Pittsburgh in the playoffs, our offense is going to look flat again. Like we're going to stall. There's going to be too many issues. It's hard to play consistent football. We'll have moments. Lamar's going to make a crazy play. We're going to bust one. The line might have amazing protection for our drive, but you can't play consistently, and this offense is way too talented. You can't play consistently when the offensive line's getting blown up.
Right.
So I think there should be changes, but my gut feeling is they're not going to change the offensive line. Not this year.
Right. And I kind of defend Monken a little bit with that point. It's so hard to call anything when your O-line can't protect and can't run block.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, he's put in a bad spot. Tough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we had these vanilla play calls, but maybe that's all I think they can block.
Right. Yeah.
And it still amazes me to be 6'7", 380 pounds, and one of the 2 pancakes you have is you tripping.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's a guy that could have upside too, but like sure. I'm not seeing the improvement, right. At least not fast. So that gives me a lot of concern for the playoffs. Like the playoffs are 5 weeks away. We're 4 games away from the playoffs. We're not getting a bye. So we're playing week 1 of the playoffs, which might not be a bad thing. Like I'm fine with kind of rolling in with some momentum if we can create it. But I don't trust that when we go against a talented front that we're not going to stall out and have another KC game last year too, where we might score 10 points or like we just can't get things going, and it's frustrating because the offense is too talented. Lamar Jackson is the best player in the world. Like we got to protect, we got to, and that goes back to EDC too, in my opinion, from in the offseason. This was an offseason thing because like I don't know if that option's on the roster. That like we could sit here and say like make a change, but is Ben or them? I mean, I would hope that they're a little better, But like we
The
don't
only
know for
thing for
sure.
it, we know Ben can play a little bit because we've all seen it.
Yeah, but I
That's
mean,
the
like
only thing.
when he gets 9 weeks in a row against talented fronts, like does he start screwing up and then
Mhm.
we're back to square one? I don't know. Like I feel like it would be a slight improvement to go with another option. I'm just saying I think the mistake was in the offseason because we don't have the guy on the roster.
Mhm. The
That
guy you mentioned at the beginning of this recording, that guy would have been nice.
Yeah, Zeitler. Yeah, yeah. No,
Mhm.
for cheap too. Like that's not that much money. Like because Eric DeCosta, I remember in the offseason, I forget which interview or press conference it was, but he said you can't pay everyone. We spent a lot of money on the defense. We needed to go cheaper on the offensive line. Zeitler's cheap though. Like that was not a big contract. $6 million total contract. Like you literally could spread that out so easy and have that cap hit be nothing. So like that's why I'm like, why we would have been in such a better spot. I feel like we could hide one
One.
weakness on the we
Yes.
can hide a weakness on the offensive line, but when you got the entire like half the interior sucks is a nightmare.
I agree. I agree. And if I'm not mistaken, Becton was available too, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah, a lot of people wanted him in the offseason. He played with Lamar in college too, right? I
Mhm.
don't know if that not that that matters really,
And
but
well,
I
I didn't
mean
know that until here recently when they showed it
yeah, I learned that
whatever
too.
they
I think
showed it
that's
on.
why it's fresh on my
Mhm.
mind. Like they talked
Mhm.
about it in the game or whatever, and then Lamar was talking to him after the game. But yeah, yeah, there was a lot of options, man. When you got an entire offseason of free agency, you can make
Mhm.
a lot of moves.
Yeah.
And I know we didn't have a lot of cap room. I know we paid Matabike. Like I totally get it. But some of these lineman contracts weren't that much.
Right.
And I feel like you could have easily made that happen. And we just decided to go younger, basically didn't add anyone outside
Mhm.
of Roger because Falele and McCary were on the team last year. They were
True.
backups.
Yep.
So like all we did was play our second string and
Yeah.
draft a rookie, and like that's our line.
Exactly.
That's not that's hard to
It's
have
tough.
confidence when you got this good of a team.
It's tough, and it just it puts me in awe of Lamar and
Oh,
what the offense
100%.
is
I
able to do.
mean, yeah, like when you look at the stats, they're so misleading for our offensive line because
Mhm.
Lamar gets out of so much pressure that it makes the offensive line look average
Right.
statistically. But when you're like watching the game, you're like, nah, this is not a good offensive line. Like, you know what I mean? Like Lamar is getting out of so much. And he's so his awareness in the pocket, not only his athleticism, but like his ability to recognize pressure quickly and make the right escape is what impresses me the most. Like that, he's the best at doing that too, and that makes the offensive line look so much better than it actually is.
That guy's the best at doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's flip to the dark side. We got a new defensive coordinator, Zach Orr. How do you, in your assessment, what's your assessment of the job he's doing up until December 5th, 2024? From the time he got hired, from the first game to now, what's your assessment of the job that Zach Orr is doing?
I don't mind it. I mean, he's such a young defensive coordinator. I mean, I was not surprised by the growing pains. I mean, people forget that Mike McDonald's first year was not great for a while too.
Mm-hmm.
Like half the season wasn't good. I feel like what really made this defense look so bad is this like fall off of safety play. I mean, I guess Eddie Jackson wasn't a fall off. We didn't really know. We just signed him and threw him into there. But like someone explained the Marcus Williams fall off. Like, dude just doesn't play physical and like makes weird decisions now. And like, I feel like that was a huge problem too. That is making Zach look awful, you know. But I'm not mad at what Zach Orr did. I was hard on him, I think, earlier in the season because we just weren't improving at all. But I feel like the defense is on the rise, and it's fair to give a coordinator who's never been a defensive coordinator, never called plays on a defense, younger guy too, which is a different
Mm-hmm.
dynamic when you got older guys in the locker room than you are as a coordinator. So like as a leader of men, it's always a little bit of a weirder position, I would imagine, when you're younger than the guys you're leading, or at least some
Mm-hmm.
of them. So I think it's fair to have some growing pains for a lot of this season. And like now that we're switching the personnel up a little bit, you see that a lot of those growing pains were
Mm-hmm.
personnel issues and execution of certain guys that were being put in those positions
Right.
outside of just pure scheme. I feel like as long as this defense continues on the trajectory that they're on, I don't mind the year that Zach Orr is having. I think that he's going to continue to get better as a
Mm-hmm.
defensive coordinator. This is we've seen the worst of what he's going to be, in my opinion.
I think
It's
so too.
only up from here. So I think he's doing fine. I don't think I think he dealt with a lot. The whole team is dealing with an unnormal amount of adversity this year. I think like the drama, the fall off from certain guys, like the Marcus Williams situation, like it's just weird, man. Like we don't really go through a lot of that. Last year, we're putting whoever we want in certain roles, and they're balling.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we're on paper, like we weren't great last year. Marlo didn't even play most of the year. Like
Right.
our best corner is not even out there. We didn't have a Nate Wiggins, Brandon
Right.
Stevens, and Ronald Darby like playing out of their minds last year, and like. I just feel like we didn't get a lot of lift or help from certain guys that we did last year that coming into this year, which made Zach Orr look awful. And I'm not saying he did a perfect job, but I don't think that I'm bothered or think he's doing a bad job by any means, especially right now. I mean, I like where the defense is headed.
Yeah, me too. Now, the reason I thought, well, you said something that made me think about it, like him being so young and not really wanting to move guys that were quote unquote on paper the starter.
Yeah.
Right. It took him a minute to get his feet wet and get the, I ain't gonna say get the balls to do it, but just to feel comfortable, be like, look, I mean, I know you $70 million man and you this, that, and the other, but yeah, you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. You know, you like it probably took because you made me think about it. It took him a minute to be comfortable moving those guys. Because like you mentioned age, they probably right around the same age.
Yeah, he's like, I think he's 3 years older than Marcus Williams or something like that. Yeah, it's like you're a player to a player almost.
Because when you're a position coach, you more of trying to keep your guy up. I mean, you're correcting him, but you're trying to keep him up, and you play good cop to the coordinator's bad cop. So now that he's the coordinator, it's probably taking him a minute to get in that bad cop role. And speaking of linebackers, like, because he coached linebackers, I never see the linebacker coach with fire like Zach Orr had last year. I wonder is that different for them? Zach's a rah in your face, pump you up, rah guy, and then the linebacker coach we got now, it seems like he'd rather be at Starbucks.
Yeah. No, that is true. That's a good point. Like we downgraded linebacker coach to have Zach Orr in this position. Yeah. And Zach Orr probably there's such a learning curve to how you like what your demeanor needs to be when you are the defensive coordinator, because now you're essentially the head coach of the defense, so like you gotta lead the other coordinators and the entire team, and being so young and so inexperienced too, not even just age. I think he's got the confidence to like instill that in other people and inspire them to play good ball, but like you don't know when you haven't done it. So that's why I think like we've seen the worst of Zach Orr, and like next year he's going to be so much better for any adversity that he faced this year.
True.
And he's not going to get plucked from our coaching staff because you know what I mean. I don't think
he might be in line. But whenever it happens, he might be in line.
Not next year though. Yeah.
Right. Justin Tucker. What do you think wrong with Tuck?
Mental at this point. I think it's like any other, I guess, baseball or like a golf swing or something that
yips.
You're just a little off. And once you're off, it's hard to get back to where you were. You can't even remember how you were kicking or how you felt in that moment. You know what I mean? You can watch all the film or technique in the world, but I think I heard a theory too that, and it's just a theory. There's no evidence of this, but he was experimenting all off season with so many different kicking styles for this new kickoff. And I just wonder, like, if, did he spend more time doing that and kind of changed his motion up a little bit? Like, I have no evidence to support that. I'm just like I'm just talking out here, like theories, but like, I don't know. I don't know, but it was from the beginning of the year. It's not like this is brand new. Like he missed a kick or two in the Chiefs game opening night. And there's been multiple games that we've lost where he's missed 2 or more field goals / extra points. The Steelers game, he missed 2. The Eagles game, he missed 2. The Chiefs game, like these are all games we lost, and it's killing us for sure. It's sad to watch on the other part because, like, man, Tucker's bailed us out of so many spots where the offense was flat, and he's making 6 out of 6 to win the game. It comes that Detroit game where he set the record comes to mind where he had to hit that 66-yarder. We didn't score a touchdown in that game. Sure so like he's bailed us out for 12 years. And then for the first time in his career, he's facing a slump and a lot of adversity. And it sucks. We need him to get it corrected. I don't know exactly what that solution is. It's probably just him. Hopefully in a bye week, he's either taking a break, which is needed, or maybe he's at his local field trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? And I think whatever needs to get done to just get back in his groove and get confident. Hopefully he does that. I don't know exactly what that solution is, but we need him down the stretch. I don't think that there's a better option off the street. I'm not against having tryouts or seeing, but when we're 4 games away from the playoffs, there's gonna be some really intense moments that Tucker is not afraid of. You know, maybe he's in his head about his own kicking right now, but he's experienced these moments. His rookie year, he's in the Super Bowl kicking field goals. So like I just feel like having a guy that has done it at the highest level ever, that is just the guy that you're going to have to ride or die with for the rest of this year, you know, and hopefully he gets it together. We need it. You know, he's going to kill us if he's missing 2 field goals a game. We're not going to the Super Bowl. We're not going to, I mean, that will hold us back.
Exactly. I agree 100%. And hopefully, like, and you mentioned it and put it on my mind, just getting away from football for this week. Clear
That could
his
be the
mind or
best
whatever,
thing, yeah.
and stop stressing about it, and just come back. You know, hey, I'm Justin effing Tucker.
Yeah, he needs that confidence
with
back,
that
man,
swagger back.
I heard Matt Stover talk about it on X, I think yesterday too. He was on some radio station, and he was saying that Tucker is, with age, overcompensating for power, and he needs to slow his approach down. So that's a good analysis from a kicker who's kicked for a long time too. So I lean towards maybe some more of that analysis, and then but yeah, I don't know how to fix it. You know, I'm sure he's trying. You know, it's not like he's not trying, but I'm just praying that he does fix it, because we can't afford him to be missing field goals.
Okay, I got 2 more for you. And there's some pretty juicy ones right here. All right. Head man in charge, John Harbaugh. Should he stay or should he go? And what will keep him and what will get him out the door?
Okay, we talking after the season or right now?
Not right now.
Okay.
No.
I see so many comments that are like, fire him today, and I'm like, that is not happening. Should he stay or should he go? Man, I need to see this season play out before I can confidently answer that. I'm leaning towards truly evaluating another option this offseason. It's been what, 17 years? I'm not even doing the math, but a long time, right? And we've gotten 1 Super Bowl in that run, and that season was filled with adversity. We sucked heading into that playoffs.
Sure did.
And you know, they're having team meetings, and when Harbaugh first got there, and like, it wasn't pretty. It's not like we've always had good things with Harbaugh. There's been a lot of game management issues. There's a lot of things, but also, like, to credit him, he's kept the culture alive. I feel like he's been a good hire, like a good CEO of hiring coordinators, defensive coordinators, moving on. Maybe we held on to Greg Roman a year or so too long, but like, I feel like he's done a good job of keeping things stable in that regard. But I think I'm on the train of seriously evaluating in the offseason. But to come back to your question, what would keep him there? We win a Super Bowl, he's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? I think even if we get to the AFC Championship again, I feel like it's going to be tough to move on. And they're going to need, I feel like the way the Ravens operate, they're going to need a strategic backup plan. It's going to be done in a very respectful way. It's going to, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be like Harbaugh's fired, it's shock, everyone's shocked. Like, it's going to be this well thought out thing, because he's been there too long. He's like really tight with EDC and the owner. So like, I feel like
one big happy family up there.
Yeah, exactly. So who's firing him? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It seems unlikely that until he wants to move on, or until we have an awful season, that he is going to go. But I'm down to always evaluate what can make this team better moving forward. And I feel like we are way too talented to not be knocking on the door of a Super Bowl. And so if, you know, we get a first round exit, or this drama continues, or things seem off like it is a little bit, then we definitely need to seriously evaluate that. Or not we, but, you know, Steve Biscotti, like, you know, like, but I would say my gut feeling is he's not going anywhere, but I think anytime soon. But I think it's totally fair to strongly consider this in the offseason and just kind of diagnose what that might look like.
Right. And I think he's just lost, not necessarily the room, but lost touch with the new player.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I feel like he don't don't mesh well with the new player, and that's no, like, he didn't do anything wrong. The new player, like I mentioned earlier, these kids different, and
Yeah.
these players different, and it just feel like he don't mesh with them, and I don't know exactly what the mesh. It just feels off. I can't put my
I agree.
finger on it. It
Even
just
the
feels
Hard
off.
Knocks episode felt a little off, but they didn't show enough for me to have like a strong opinion about it. But I was like
Mhm.
watching Tomlin interact with his guys, and I was like, man, now I know why they come out playing so pissed off. Like,
Yep.
like you know what I mean? Like I get why they're so locked in, and it's not. I don't want to say like Tomlin's so much better because they haven't had a ton of success either. But I'm just saying
Mhm.
like that coaching style to me at least spoke to me more
Yep.
than Harbaugh giving a speech where I feel like a lot of the guys might in the room be like, oh, he's just kind of saying stuff like.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not hitting the same.
Mhm.
So I
Just like with the thing, like when Tommy came out and he was showing everybody his black Air Force Ones at a big game. We all know what that. We know what black Air Force One energy mean,
yeah,
and it just and that for a player, for your coach to do that, and your players to see it, so you kind of like you attempt to be a part of what they know. Them jokers will run through a brick wall for you.
yeah, yeah,
And,
I
like
agree.
I remember being at practice and much as I hate that mumble rap stuff, I'll say a few lines and the kids will know it. Man, them jokers, they'll do anything I ask them to do at that point.
Just they
Just
related
because
to you
they
in a
related
moment.
to me,
Yeah,
right?
yep, yep. Now
So
that connection's huge, and that could be a bit of this disconnect because I feel like there is a disconnect this year. It's weird that there wasn't last year though. It's not like society changed in 1 year. Like how did he lose touch in 1 year? You know, I don't know, or maybe he's been losing touch, but there definitely feels like there's an higher level of drama than I'm
mhm.
used to as a Ravens fan, and than any of us are. Like it's this Deontay Johnson
Yeah.
situation. Like it's just weird, man. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just weird.
Speaking of DJ,
Yeah. Okay.
that's how I wanted to end this with the
Oh,
elephant in the
all
room.
right. Yeah, yeah.
So you segue right into it. Hey, perfect, perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
What do you think about the situation as a whole? Well, let me lay it out. They asked him to go in. Now, I've been told that it wasn't when Bateman got hurt. It was later. So
Okay.
with that being out there, and this is
That's a
from one of the reporters.
reliable source. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's on Twitter.
I didn't
I
know
go
when
get it
they.
on Twitter.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
on
No,
Twitter.
you're
Yeah,
good. I just didn't. I
yeah,
didn't hear that. Like it was
yeah.
only during garbage time. That is new information for me.
He didn't say garbage time. He
Oh,
just
just
said it was
after.
after
Okay. All
Colin
right.
Wallace.
Okay. So
That's
they
he
put
didn't say it
him
was
in
garbage time.
first, which rubbed him the wrong way. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And he was, and from everybody else's reports that he was already,
Pissed off from
pissed
weeks
off.
prior. I
Yeah,
knew that. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Right.
So
Okay.
what do you think about it? And like because I thought the Ravens flock was coming back together,
Yeah.
but this right here,
I know. I know.
it's one side or the other.
I know. Yeah. I gotta say that what my opinion is willing to change if more information comes out. If we hear from
Mhm.
Deontay, if we get more behind the scenes info, then I can always adapt how I feel with new information. But right now, with what we know, I feel like the Ravens mismanaged using him,
Mhm.
and he's too good of a player to kind of. And I don't know if this was like practice related. You know how like Harbaugh is
Yeah.
with like you got to earn your spot, and
Mhm.
like maybe he came in and was not practicing as hard as other guys. Like maybe, and you don't know the offensive terminology. So I
Right.
totally understand a couple weeks of learn the offense, get in the playbook so that you're not thinking. You know what I mean? We
Mhm.
need you out there where we're not just telling you what route to run. We need you out there understanding the offense at a high
Right.
level. So let's say he did all that
Mhm.
and we're a couple weeks in, they need to be ramping his usage up.
True.
Like I do think that they mismanaged his playing time because he peaked like 2-3 weeks ago in usage. Maybe the Bengals game.
17 plays.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, there you go. And then it's been down. It's been going down,
Mhm.
and so that's gonna piss him off naturally. And I'd be pissed off if I was a player too. And then I don't agree with him just refusing to go in the game
Mhm.
under any circumstance, to be honest with you, because I just don't think even if it was garbage time, even if they put Tylen in first, as frustrated as you are, and I totally think it's fair for him to be frustrated.
Mhm.
I feel like that is still your opportunity to just go shut everyone up. Go prove it to the coaches. Like, you guys are dumb. You should have had me out here.
Mhm.
Like, now I have, and then if he goes out there and balls, even if it's just that last drive, let's say he gets 2 catches or maybe a touchdown or something, Now you've just earned a role on this team and gave the coaches confidence and bode well for you in free agency next year too.
Yeah.
But
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to wrap it up by saying, but by refusing to play, I just don't think that makes you look good in the NFL, like in general. Like that's just not a good move to say when they say, "Hey, here is your opportunity. We need you." You're just like, "Nah, I'm not going." That is that's not going to bode well for his contract next year. Like that's just a bad look overall. So like I don't think it was played right by him. I don't think the Ravens played his usage right. And I understand his frustration, but I do think that he should have went in the game.
True. Now, I'm gonna preface mine by saying he, like you said, he should have won the game at any point. Because even if it's that, like you said, that last drive, and he get 2 catches and maybe a touchdown, then he can start having leverage on them. Be like, look, when I was out there, this happened.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily you got to say that, but it's evident. Hey, when I was out there, this happened. Don't matter if it was at backups, it happened. So now you got at least got to give me some kind of consideration. But as far as when I first heard about it, without me jumping on either side, I said I needed to know when. And so I was holding off judgment. And like, I needed to know if they asked him to go in when Bateman got hurt and he said no, because I can't back that at all. But if it's not when Bateman went in, if they asked him to get in that last drive when it was like we was down 2 scores with less time, I can understand sitting there boiling the entire game. But they're probably just in a good mood. But then when Bate got hurt, hey, look, I'm here. This is my time. You said I was a backup for him, insurance for him. Oh, we lost him. Let me get him back. Let me get him back. I don't know what happened. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I get him back. Oh, there you go. There we go. There we go. We back.
Yeah. All right, cool.
We back. Let me close it. All right. But yeah, it depends on when it happened. If it happened when Bateman went down and he didn't go in, like I said, I can't defend that. If they waited to that last drive to ask that man to get in after him sitting there probably super boiling when Wallace went in and he ain't getting no spin, I can understand why he's like, man, don't even worry about it. Like, because I like what I'm going to go out there for, because I ain't going to focus on the ball. I ain't going to focus on the snaps. I'm sitting here worried about why I'm just not getting the game.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't going to help nobody. But I even said all that, but he still should have won the game to get for him to get some more leverage on the situation. And that's not to make him look like a problem person, because he's had problems at different stops already.
No, yeah, exactly. That's another point too. It's not the first time. Like I have a couple Steelers friends that I was texting about this, and they were sending me plays of him like quitting in Steelers games. They were like, oh, he's just like refusing to block and do this and that, and like this isn't new. And so that's a bad narrative to continue, and he is continuing it by still being emotional in this situation. When I completely think it's fair to have those emotions, you got to be the bigger man and just be like, okay, I'm going to harness these emotions. I'm going to go ball out and show everybody why I should be out on this field all the time. And by not going in. And then now what happens? Because like now the Ravens just put him on blast. That can't feel good. In this statement, it said he refused to go in the game. That is the Ravens organization calling you out, right? Like there's no other way around it. They could have just said conduct detrimental to the team.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. But they said in the statement, we're not talking about it anymore. He refused to go in the game. So that is them putting effort into saying, like, we're covering ourselves. Right. This is why he is suspended. And then the fact that they suspended him instead of released him tells me that they might not want to release him. They want the comp pick. They want to keep him from a contender. Which I think is fair. Like, I don't want to release him and just have him run.
He's going to
Kansas City. Yeah. And then we don't get a comp pick either. So like, I feel like, they want to keep him, but is that what's best for the locker room? How's he respond after this? Does he just be like, all right, I'm gonna just lock in. My fault. I should have went in the game. Like now I'm here moving forward, or is he just like inactive every week? Like what how's this gonna play out?
Right. And like you mentioned earlier, all this drama, and this is no drama that you need, and you're trying to, focus on getting your team chemistry together and going through, a run for the Super Bowl. And I told somebody, I like, having this pop up on a bye week is probably the worst, because they're not there. Yeah. They're probably not in a room where they can, hey, let's fix this. So this crap is festering until they come back Monday.
Yeah. No, I mean, imagine how Deontay's feeling. He's literally just got called out by the team.
Yeah. He's villainized right now.
Yeah. No, he 100%. Because I would say it did split the fan base, but there's probably more people that are like, kind of against him right now in this
Most
situation.
definitely, most
Yeah,
definitely.
so like he's feeling that heat, whether you're online
Mhm.
or not. Like like the team just called you out for not going in the game. That does not sit well with anybody. Like that's why I'm curious. Like, does this get smoothed over somehow, or
Mhm.
is this gonna get uglier? I think we're blessed to have guys like strong leaders like Lamar in the locker room who people are gonna look up to, and he can maybe keep things at bay a little bit. I saw the report that he was talking to Deontay for 10 to 15 minutes, trying to calm him down.
Mhm.
Like, rather than the coaches, right? Because like obviously Deontay is probably pissed at the coaches. So having a guy like Lamar who's not making those decisions kind of be able to neutralize things in the locker room is definitely a benefit. Because if we had some scrub QB in, the whole team's falling apart right now.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's my last one. We got one from the comment section
Yeah.
from Kevin Bowman. He says, "Do you think?" And he think he posted, and we were talking about John Harbaugh. Do you think he's still petty about Lamar saying he wanted a trade during his press conference for the contract? Because Bernard Pollard said he was petty.
I mean, yeah, I don't think he's still carrying that. No, there's too many things that have happened since then. But like, yeah, I'm sure he felt some type of way about it. He's in the middle of a live press conference, and then that's when they decide to do that. Is definitely a petty move. It is like, I mean, or a strategic move,
Right.
however you want to phrase it. But I don't think he's still carrying that baggage.
Mhm.
That would be very unhealthy for you to carry that for so long. But he definitely in that moment and probably shortly thereafter was carrying that and felt some type of way for sure.
True, true, true. So, Ryan, that's all I got for you, man. I appreciate you for coming on. But those that don't follow Ryan, his link is in the description. But can you also let the people know where to find your content?
Appreciate you having me on, coach. It was fun. And you can search the Flock Rundown, YouTube, Spotify, X, pretty much everywhere. Yeah.
I appreciate you, man. And this is Coach Evans with another episode of Sip to Tally podcast. And we'll be having more of these coming up soon. So I appreciate you, Ryan, for taking the time out with you. Everybody in the chat box.